In developing exceptional customer service skills, it is also important to learn how to deal with angry patients and parents. No one wants to have to do this in the office. However, I have observed many staff members and doctors over the years who have developed this skill and do it extremely well. They remind themselves that the anger is not directed at them personally, but the anger is directed at the system or the situation. They find that there are two types of angry people we deal with in the orthodontic office. Some people are just upset and venting. They are upset about something that is going on in their life, and the orthodontic team becomes the target. Then there are those that may have a legitimate complaint about the practice. They are upset about something that has happened to them as a result of a system failing and falling apart within the practice. On page 19 in your handout, we have listed some suggestions for handling angry customers. When someone is angry or upset, listen without interruption. Do not return their aggression with aggression. Work hard to empathize with their situation. Never say that they are wrong even if they are. Accept the possibility of responsibility and acknowledge their concerns. For example, "Oh, Mrs. Smith, I'm so sorry that you are upset or inconvenienced. What can we do to help?" Make empathetic or "I agree" statements. Say, for instance, that someone shows up for what they believe is their appointment at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, only to find out that your records indicate their appointment was scheduled for Thursday. The conversation might go something like this: "Mrs. Smith, I'm sorry our records indicate that Sally's appointment is for tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Can you bring her back tomorrow?" An angered Mrs. Smith might say, "Well, your records are wrong. I clearly wrote it down in my day timer as Wednesday, and I've taken her out of school now. You need to get your act together in here. I want to see Dr. Jones right now about this." The appointment coordinator would clearly see that Mrs. Smith had reached the level of being an angry customer. And there are probably several other patients in the reception area just watching to see how this is going to be handled. I would suggest that the appointment coordinator say, "Mrs. Smith, I certainly understand how frustrating this must be for you. And obviously, our computer records could be inaccurate. Let me go back and explain the situation to our clinical coordinator. I'm sure she will find a way to fit Sally into our schedule in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Would that be okay with you?" Even an angry mother who still believes that her notes are more accurate than yours could not really argue with that customer service offer. Understand there are some people that will never be satisfied unless they get their way. You may have to bend the rules if all else fails. If the practice is in the wrong, admit the error and accept responsibility for it. Work to take some action. Many offices have movie passes or pizza certificates to hand out when these situations arise. Try to steer the angry individual from the front desk and the reception area if at all possible. Ask the person to come into a private consultation area so you can sit down and talk. If the person becomes abusive or uses profanity, say to them, "You are obviously very upset at this time, and I understand your frustration. However, I think it is best that you take time to calm down. Can I call you back later today or tomorrow so we can readdress your concerns?" It is important to realize that staff members should not accept profanity or abusive behavior when dealing with angry customers. If someone on the team is exceptionally good at dealing with these situations, you may want to direct that person to them so they can handle a particularly delicate situation. Remember, empathy is the key that normally diffuses the angry customer. Now, in addition to the angry customers, it is important to learn how to handle the patient complaints. If a patient or parent comes to your office and they have an exceptional experience, they're going to tell 3 people. If they have an average experience, they will probably tell no one. But if they have a bad experience, they are going to tell 11 people. This is why it is so important to be able to do what Delta Airlines has called for years, turn lemons into lemonade. The goal is to have the patient or parent leave with a positive feeling if at all possible. Follow along on page 20 in your handout as I cover some solutions for dealing with customer complaints. When dealing with complaints, assume the customer wants to remain your customer and that they are giving you an opportunity to make it right. Listen to their complaints without interruption, no matter what. Show empathy, concern, and a willingness to help. Guide the conversation with open-ended questions like who, what, when, where, why, and how. Record essential information. If you're on the telephone with them, explain that you are taking notes about the situation. Ideally, you need to make notes in the patient's permanent record. Discuss a resolution with the customer. Ask them if this is agreeable to them and discuss alternatives if necessary. Resolve the complaint right then and there. If it requires a return phone call, set up a time to call them back so the customer feels comforted. Thank the customer for the complaint by saying, "Mrs. Smith, thank you so much for bringing this matter to our attention." Follow up by telephone or with a handwritten note a few days later. Depending upon the situation, it may be appropriate to apologize. Let them know that you would like to move forward with a good customer service relationship. If people leave these situations feeling bad or wronged, nobody wins. These situations are an opportunity to learn. For example, let's say that you have a full schedule of patients on a particular day and the doctor asks the business staff to contact all the patients to reschedule them because he or she has to be out of the office that day. There may be anywhere from 50 to 100 patients to call depending on how many patients are being seen per day in the practice. Typically, most patients are pretty easy to reschedule, especially if this is a rare occurrence. But let's say you encounter a mother who is very disturbed about the fact that she's had this on her calendar for weeks and it is going to be difficult for her to reschedule the appointment. She may say something like, "Gee, I can't believe that you are rescheduling this appointment. I remember spending quite a bit of time at the desk with my day timer, juggling my schedule around to make sure that I could get Johnny in for that appointment. This is very disappointing to me." The appointment coordinator at that point will respond to her by saying, "We totally understand this inconvenience to you, Mrs. Smith. We will do everything we can to reschedule this appointment at a time that is going to be most convenient to you. We appreciate your patience. Is there a particular day or time next week that is going to be convenient for you?" At this point, the mother will probably start to calm down and realize that you are empathetic and are willing to work with her to reschedule the appointment at a time that is going to be compatible with her schedule. Once the appointment is rescheduled, you should follow this up with a handwritten note or possibly a certificate for dinner or a couple of movie passes for this particular parent. This is how you make lemonade out of lemons. Quite often, you can use situations like this to turn them into opportunities to show the patient and parent your willingness to make things a win-win for all involved. In our products on hiring and evaluations, we recommend newly hired staff members be evaluated by patients and parents. Send an evaluation form to a group of patients or parents that you know have had interaction with a new staff member. We request that the evaluation form be sent back to the office. The clinical coordinator or the doctor should review the evaluations and then cover the comments with the new staff member. This is an excellent way for new team members to learn how well they're doing in terms of customer service and interaction with the patients and parents early on in their employment in the office. In developing exceptional customer service skills, you need to learn the most effective ways to say no. This is especially important in the area of appointment book control. You cannot possibly give everybody everything they want, or you will have complete chaos on your hands in the practice. So you need to discuss and train the staff on various scripting alternatives. For example, it is not a good idea to simply say, "No, we don't see new patients after 3 o'clock in the afternoon." It is much more appropriate to say, "Because it is important to Dr. Jones that he have uninterrupted time with Johnny, we schedule our new patient appointments between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. That way, Dr. Jones is able to answer all of your questions and give you the uninterrupted time that you will need at this appointment. Once Johnny is into treatment, we will do our best to schedule as many of those appointments after school as possible. See the difference those few lines can make in your initial impression with scheduling a new patient appointment over the telephone? You are still saying no, but in a much friendlier manner. When you can't meet a request, tell them why, show empathy, and tell them what you can do. Another example would be when a patient wants to schedule an appointment on a day when the doctor is going to be out of the office. Instead of saying no, the doctor is not seeing patients that day, it is much better for the professional team to be trained to say, Dr. Jones will be out of town that day attending a continuing education conference. He will be back in the office on Monday. If the call is about a repair need, offer for someone to take care of the repair right away. A staff member or another doctor needs to be on call for handling repair situations. If this is something that can wait until Monday, the patient needs to be scheduled at that time. Let the patient and parent know that they are there to serve needs, even if it is just making the patient feel comfortable until the doctor returns. Another way of saying no to a requested scheduling date is to say, that is one of our in-service days, that we will be in the office conducting our behind-the-scenes duties. However, our next patient day will be. See how much better that sounds than just saying we are not seeing patients that day? Talk about challenges you currently have in your office in terms of scripting, so you can come up with positive ways to respond to the patient and parent when no is appropriate. Remember, people are always thinking, what's in it for me? Always use scripting that shows a benefit to the patient and parent. As you are discussing developing excellent customer service in your office, there are a few points that I would like to emphasize. These points are noted on page 22. Number 1, excellent customer service does not mean that you become too familiar with the customer. Once you become too familiar with someone, your tendency is to lose your professional relationship. If you become too familiar, you can take on an attitude of, oh gee, Jane won't care, we can change her appointment, or we can keep her waiting for a little while. All patients deserve the very best customer service experience possible. Number 2, sometimes people can come across fake instead of delivering excellent customer service. The key to excellent customer service is being authentic. If you are not being yourself, people will pick up on that like radar. If you script things in a way that are syrupy sweet, the customer may think you're trying to placate them. This does not leave people feeling good. Number 3, staff members can sometimes let their personal problems directly affect their work and the level of customer service they offer the patients and parents. Obviously, some personal problems are more difficult to detach from than others, but you should make a conscious effort to leave them at home. Try to think of coming to work and being with your patients as an escape from your problems, not a place to park them. Number 4, everyone should make a consistent effort to arrive at work on time or early. If staff members or the doctor run in at the last minute frantically trying to prepare for that first patient, there is very little chance that they will give them their best customer service effort. Number 5, don't let yourself get caught up in the "it's not my problem" syndrome. So often I see staff members who are unwilling to cross that line to help a coworker or to go that extra step for the patient because they feel it is not their responsibility. Creating a customer service friendly attitude is the responsibility of everyone on your team. Offices that are focused on exceptional customer service look for ways to improve. Many customer service-driven offices are implementing the new patient manager system. The patient manager system is where each orthodontic chairside assistant is assigned to see a certain percentage of the active patients. They assist the doctor in starting the patient and carry the patient all the way through to the D-band appointment. We cover this system in detail in our Smart Talk product. This system enables the chairside assistant to establish an ongoing relationship with approximately 150 to 200 patients. We call them their patient families. The chairside assistant has an opportunity to establish a relationship with these families over a period of 1 to 2 years. Another thing that impresses me is when the orthodontist calls their new patients the night before their exam and the evening the bands and bonds have been placed. Now that is an excellent customer service tip. Patients and parents are always impressed when the doctor takes their time to call. In addition, assistants may be calling patients who had difficult appointments that day. Some additional customer service ideas that you can incorporate into your internal marketing plan are acknowledging patients' birthdays, various holidays, and special events such as Mother's Day, Father's Day. Also recognize patients who have been in your local newspaper. Some offices acknowledge patients who are on the honor roll, and in many practices acknowledge patients the day their braces are removed. Continue to look for ways to acknowledge people, recognize them, and make them feel important. Eliciting feedback from your patients and parents is also an important part of establishing customer service. Many practices utilize practice evaluation forms, and others go as far as establishing focus groups of patients and parents to give them feedback on how well things are going in their practice. These are all excellent ways of taking your customer service to the next level. I went to an office recently where they had a contest for patients to enter ideas of improvements to the office. It was interesting to read the children's comments on the forms. One little boy said that he thought it would enhance the office to paint the reception room a brighter color. They actually received many excellent ideas. This is an easy and fun way to have a contest in your office that elicits ideas from your patients. Clinical techniques also come into play in establishing exceptional customer service. Offices that are looking for more comfortable and efficient ways to complete orthodontic treatment are gaining referrals. When patients experience less discomfort during their orthodontic treatment, they are much more likely to refer their friends and coworkers and relatives. Many offices are bonding all of the teeth versus banding, so the patient does not have to wear the uncomfortable separators. Many are looking for other options other than headgear. Many are using long working flexible wires where the patient experiences less discomfort. Constantly look for ways to achieve good clinical results and make the experience more comfortable for the patient. Also, pay attention to the little details that can make such a big difference in the experience that the patient has in your office. For example, do you have small white styrofoam cups at your coffee area, or have you invested in nice coffee mugs with your office logo on them? Do you have the powdered creamer from Kmart, or have you invested in the small half and half creamers along with a nice decanter to hold them along with the sugar? Remember that offices that are focused on exceptional customer service are always looking for ways to improve, and sometimes that means looking at the smallest of details. There is a section of your written materials beginning on page 28 that contains numerous customer service games and exercises that I would like to encourage your team to utilize today or at future staff meetings. If you keep your customer service as a constant topic in your practice and at your meetings, your team will continue to develop outstanding customer service skills. In closing, I'd like to leave you with a few concepts to ponder in regards to excellent customer service. Number one, it takes making a conscious decision to act nice even when you don't feel like it. Number two, it is addictive. Once you start delivering excellent customer service to others, you get hooked. Number three, the rewards to you are plentiful. People like you. Bosses reward you. People rely on you. And best of all, others respect you. Number four, it's not what you do, but how you do it that is the key. If you just do your job, that's not excellent customer service. You must have the desire to strive to serve. For example, ask yourself the question, how do I describe my role at work? Would your answer be, I'm just a receptionist. I answer the phone and make appointments. Or would you say, I'm the scheduling coordinator. My job is to make the callers and the visitors to our office feel important. I understand that I am a frontline team member. It's my job to set the stage for an excellent first impression. If you are an assistant, would you say, I'm just an assistant, and I see patients, sterilize instruments, and stock drawers? Or would you say, I'm an orthodontic chairside assistant. It's my job to assist the doctor in making sure the patient's visit is as pleasant and productive. My role is to communicate effectively with the patients and the parents. Clinically, I must continue to fine-tune my skills, which will enhance the patient's treatment and their experience. I think you get my point. People who strive for excellence in customer service treat people the way they would like to be treated. They are proud of what they do. They understand the importance of their contribution. They don't waste their time thinking other jobs are more important than theirs. They spend their time and energy going the extra mile. As we wrap up this video, I want to encourage you again to take your great customer service idea sheets and review everyone's notes. From that, form a list of ideas that the team agrees to focus on in the future. Some parting thoughts on our patients and parents. They are the most important people who will ever be in the office. They should always be treated like VIPs. They are not interruptions of our work. They are the reason for it. They are the reason that all of us have a job. They are our special guests, and we should roll out the red carpet for every single one of them. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. Make it your goal to deliver excellent customer service to every patient and parent who enters the door of your practice every single day. I congratulate you again for investing in this training video. You obviously have a desire to provide exceptional customer service to your patients. A big part of providing that customer service is being well trained in all aspects of your job. I want to encourage you to review the information in the back of your manual that contains our line of training tools for the orthodontic practice. It also contains the contact information for our products division. Our goal at Progressive Concepts is to provide high quality and affordable training for each and every position and system in the orthodontic practice. In addition to our training products, we also offer several different live training seminars each year. For more information on our seminars and my consulting services, please phone 757-626-3113. Thank you.